In this short clip, MSNBC correspondent Dasha asked a present question about the Republican Party after Trump. And it's important. I want you to listen to this, and then I want you to listen to a short snippet of what Charlie Dent, former Republican congressman as well, had to say. Check this out, and then we'll listen to hear it on the other side.
This begs the question for me, which I often wonder, especially after I talk with voters, because Trump has engaged so many people in this way. We haven't seen a candidate do in a long time. But what is the Republican Party after Trump? What does it look like after Trump? Because so much of the infrastructure has been built around him. So much of the ideology has been built around him that once he's gone, no one is Donald Trump. No one can replicate that. And so what does the Republican Party come to stand for when you've brought in all of these new voters, but really on the basis of what one man has done? Where do you go from there? That's a good question, Charlie.
But that's partly why we set up this Republican Legacy Initiative, because we want to talk about the party after 2024. What are enduring principles? I mean, like, for example, on free markets. I mean, Republican Party right now, at least under Donald Trump, it's all about high tariffs and price controls. I mean, it's almost indistinguishable from the Democrats. I mean, there's an issue.
It's an argument that there's no that Republican Party doesn't exist anymore.
Well, no, but I'll tell you what, though.
But there's foreign policy. Look how they've changed on fiscal matters.
I was about to say look, most Republicans, peace through strength, they support allies. They think it would be horrendous to surrender Ukraine to Russia. Plenty of Republicans feel that way. You got to remember, 20% of Republican voters are still voting for Nikki Haley, and she's been out of the race for weeks.
That is such a good point. They're still voting for, even in primaries yesterday.
They're looking for an alternative.
Here is the deal. They picked up on something that's very important, and that is right now Donald Trump is the leader of a cult. The people who support Donald Trump, it doesn't matter what Donald Trump does. There are two groups of people: one that are devout cultists, and the others that will simply want Donald Trump there because of the financial benefits they think they'll get from him, and because of the innate hurt or hate they have for a particular sect of the rest of the American population. So those are two distinct groups. The question is, when there's no more Donald Trump, what happens? And that is what Representative Charlie Dent is asking. What happens? There are some of us Republicans that are trying to build this. Was as Katie told them earlier. Katie Tur said the problem is currently there is no Republican Party, and until that is understood by all, until they get that Donald Trump successfully destroyed everything that was conservatism, everything that was Republican Party, and then simply turned it into a transactional entity for the corporate state, which means it's now will migrate into a fascist entity. And it has nothing to do with values. It has nothing to do with policy. It has everything to do with what this corporation or these corporations or these groups are willing to pay the government for, meaning the politicians, to make sure and effect the will of these people at the expense always of the average American citizen. That is what we are becoming, or that is what the Republican Party has become. And after Trump unleashed it, and then after he leaves, that's a carcass that's going to be left. Unfortunately, that stinking carcass will still have an existence for some time. We better be careful. We better vote right.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.